This video brought to you by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC. Every year, fans debate whether or not it's too early to discuss Major League Baseball's trade deadline. Well, this year, Braves general manager Alex Anthopoulos blew that argument off its hinges by saying that the Braves will not only be active at the MLB's trade deadline, they're going to be active beforehand.
Hello, baseball fans. You're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. With Alex Anthopoulos already stating that the Braves are going to be active and more than likely active soon, what better time to talk about the trade deadline than right now? The Braves do have some concerns, even as the best team in Major League Baseball. They were the first to 20 wins, first to 30 wins, and now first to 40 wins. Even with that, they need to fill some holes. Most importantly, I would say, in the starting pitching staff. You do have some solid arms, of course, with Chris Sale, Bryce Elder, and Spencer Strider, but after that, I believe you have quite a bit of uncertainty. I like Grant Holmes. I think he's a very valuable pitcher within the Braves roster, but I value him more in the bullpen. Right now, in the rotation, he's struggling to get through the lineup, the second and third go-around. And when you get to the fifth spot, you go to Martin Perez. I like Martin Perez. He's been solid this year. He's exceeded my expectations, and I would argue he's likely exceeded yours. He's got a sub-3 ERA as a starter, kind of came out of nowhere. And as much as I like that, I don't know how much I believe it going into the latter months of the season and beyond that into the postseason. I just don't know how much I buy into that. That said, I do firmly believe that the Braves will make some moves when it comes to the rotation. Could be one starter, could be two. That said, we're going to go through a selection of starters that I've got, and we'll let you know what we think about each and every one of them, some being the more obvious choices, some a little more under the radar, which is more the Brave style. We're going to go through all of them, but before we do, we got to know what chips we're gambling with, right? We got to know what we could be trading away. And the Braves do have a collection of prospects, I believe, that could bring back a solid starter plus some, if need be. And here they are on your screen. You have J.R. Ritchie. You have Lucas Braun. You have Owen Murphy, Cam Caminiti. You also have shortstop Alex Lodis, Didier Fuentes as well in the starting pitching category. You have a wealth of prospects here that the Braves really haven't had in a long time. And historically speaking, the Braves hold on to their prospect with a really tight grip. They don't like to let go of them and didn't in years prior. Sometimes it worked out. Other times it came back to bite them if they didn't make the move and the prospect, didn't live up to expectations. This year, though, it's a little different. The Braves are not barely on the edge of the postseason. They're not just a contender. They are the best team in baseball. They have the best starters. They have some of the best pitchers. They are the best 1-2-3 punch. You have a great offense. You have a really good top of the rotation, and you really have a good back end of the bullpen. It's those filler pieces, the back end of the rotation, the 4-5 spot, and again, the front end of the bullpen that I think need the most work. I think the offense, you can improve shortstop if you want. That's for another video. But right now, the pitching to me is the priority. And I really do think it starts with the rotation. And here's why. I believe if we get another solid starter, whoever that may be, and you slot him into the 4-hole and you slide Grant Holmes down to the bullpen, all of a sudden your bullpen gets a lot deeper just on that one move, just by slotting Grant Holmes back into the long relief role that he already had. I think that makes your bullpen far stronger than it is right now, just on one signing of a starting pitcher. That said, that's where we're going to begin. So 10 starting pitchers that I think the Braves could possibly target, maybe even bring into Atlanta. Number one, the most obvious choice, the one that everybody's going to drop in the comment section if I don't mention him, and that is, of course, Tarik Skubal from the Detroit Tigers. Skubal has been terrific over the past few years. He's won a couple Cy Youngs. The Tigers are likely to sell. They're 6.5 games back of the wild card. They are likely not going to make the postseason, which is why I think they'll be sellers sooner rather than later, which is right up Alex Anthopoulos' alley right now, as he would like to sign a starter soon. Here's my problem with this. I think it would take quite a bit of that package that I showed you earlier, because you don't want to trade away all 6 of those. You want to kind of disperse them. You may not even want to trade all of them if you don't have to. I think it would take quite a haul. I think it would take J.R. Ritchie and Didier Fuentes and Cam Caminiti and Owen Murphy to get a rental for the rest of the season. I say rental respectively But at the end of the day, Tariq Skubal is a free agent at the end of this year. And if you think the Braves are going to re-sign him, I think you're sadly mistaken. He's got an expected contract north of $400 million. That's going to be more, aligned with the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees. I don't see the Braves even flirting with that. I highly doubt that the Braves go out and get Tariq Skubal. That said, that takes us straight to number 2, something that I do feel is more likely, and that takes us out to San Francisco, the Giants, and Logan Webb. Logan Webb, of course, is a former All-Star. He's been terrific over the past couple of years. He is controllable beyond this season. He is a free agent in 2029. The Giants are certainly going to be sellers. They're already 9.5 games back of the wild card. Logan Webb is affordable. He's making $18 million a season on average. I think it would take a little less to get him, maybe a couple of these prospects, maybe even if you give him a good one, maybe even one prospect, maybe a J.R. Ritchie, and maybe you toss some money their way, cash considerations to make this happen. But if it takes you 2, I honestly think it's worth it. If you traded away a Lucas Braun and an Owen Murphy, for example, and you get Logan Webb right now, that shores up your rotation for sure and takes you to the postseason. I like it a lot. I think that's a really solid move for the Braves. It's not a guarantee. Logan Webb's going to be highly sought after, but I think this is up the Braves' alley. And if they get ahead of it and they get after him soon, they could very well make this happen sooner rather than later. And while we're on the Giants, let's go ahead and go to number 3. We're talking about Robbie Ray. Why not? This one is a little bit more unlikely. Robbie is a free agent at the end of this year. He is making $20 million a year. The Braves would likely only owe him half of that, though, considering when they would get him. I think it would take a couple of prospects here, maybe a Lucas Braun, maybe an Owen Carey, maybe a package of some kind with the list that I gave you earlier. I don't know the exact list. I do think it would be less than what a Logan Webb would take because he's only going to be here for the remainder of this season unless you were to get him here and re-sign him. Now, one thing I'll say is that with these two coming from the Giants, they're not making Tariq Skubal money. I mean, you could get them here and decide to extend them beyond this season if you want to, just like we did with Matt Olson, just like we did with Sean Murphy once they got here on trades as well. That is very possible, and I like both of these guys a lot. I think they could very well make our team better. I think they can make Atlanta a lot stronger in the rotation. What would be crazy is if we did a whole package deal and got them both. That's what would be crazy. I think that's unlikely, but it could happen. That said, let's go up the road and go to Minnesota, and let's talk about Joe Ryan. Now, the Twins, of course, they're a little closer to being competitive. They're only 2 games back of the wild card. Joe Ryan is a free agent in 2028. I don't see the Twins being ready to trade right now, unlike the Giants. I think the Giants are probably more understanding that they're going to be a seller at some point and could go ahead and start making deals if they want to. Joe Ryan, though, is going to be harder to get simply because he is on the Twins, and they are more competitive as it stands right now. He is a free agent in 2028. He's got a mutual option for next year, so the team and him would have to come to an agreement and whether or not he's going to come back for what he's making next year. So I think he's a little bit more of a difficult situation compared to like a Logan Webb. Right now, Logan Webb is probably my frontliner for who I think we could go get. But that said, Joe Ryan is certainly a candidate. He's certainly got the numbers, and I like him. It's really a matter of, are the Twins going to go on a hot streak, or are they going to go ice cold, and that'll kind of determine how tradable Joe Ryan is. We'll have to go from there. That takes us to New York, and this is what I think is highly unlikely, simply because of the team I'm talking about. Freddie Peralta with the Mets, 6.5 games back of the wild card. The Mets are out of it. There's no doubt about that. It's really just a factor of will they trade with Atlanta, which I deem to be highly unlikely. I like Freddie Peralta. Love to get him out of New York and get him on a contender. I just don't think it's going to happen. They're not going to trade him to Atlanta. I don't think the Braves would want to trade with New York either and give them a lot of prospects that we're going to have to face over the next few years. I just see that to be very unlikely. And if you're going to ask me what it would take to make this happen, it's whatever the Mets want, essentially, which I don't really think that the Braves want to give them that kind of power personally. And the same goes for the next one. Although I would love to make this happen, Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins, it's just not going to happen for the same reason as the Mets. 5 games back the wild card, they're out of it as well. they've pretty much anchored and fallen in the standings tremendously. Sandy is a free agent at the end of this year. He does have a team option for next season. His average annual value is $11.2 million, not a lot. But again, it would probably take a huge haul. Granted, the Braves did make a trade with the Marlins back in 2021 for Adam Duvall, although this is more of a difficult situation because Duvall had just gotten there. It wasn't so much of a guy that they had raised up and gotten to this point and put a lot of investment in, and Sandy is the definition of that for them. So I find that to be very unlikely, personally, and that goes for both him and Freddie Peralta. So let's talk about something that is likely, and that takes us to number 7, Michael Wacha. This is one I actually find intriguing. Michael Wacha, of course, formerly with the Cardinals, now with Kansas City Royals, who are 8 games back of the wild card. Wacha is a free agent in 2028. He's got a club option in 2028. He is owed $18 million this season. He is owed $14 million next year. I think that falls within the Braves' parameters financially. I don't think that's a turnoff necessarily. I do think the turnoff would be what it would take to get him. I think it would take an Owen Murphy and J.R. Ritchie kind of package to get him. And really, it depends on what the team needs. And I'm not fully aware of what the Royals may need in terms of their depth. They may want a shortstop, which, if that's the case, then Alex Lodis, could be traded as well. It kind of it becomes, what do the Braves have that the Royals want? And obviously, if they want, Ronald Acuna, then we're not entertaining it. But if they want to go after some of our prospects and that kind of thing, the Braves have every right to trade prospects right now. They are in their competitive window. This is the window, and they need to win now. The Royals need to win in the future. I find it interesting. I think Michael Wacha would love to make that transition and come to Atlanta and be on a legit contender for the remainder of the year. And he would certainly be on that with the Braves. He's been solid this year. Obviously, he's had a great career, would be a veteran that you throw into the rotation. And again, you throw him into the rotation and your pitching staff gets that much better overnight just by putting him in there and moving Grant, I believe, to the bullpen where he belongs and putting him there. That said, let's go ahead and move on down to Pittsburgh. Mitch Keller, could he be available? A little bit more unlikely than some of the names that we've mentioned on this list. Mitch Keller plays for the Pirates. The Pirates are 5.5 games back of their division, but they do qualify for one of the wild card spots right now. They are still in it. So, it kind of depends on how the next month or two goes, whether or not he'll ultimately be traded, because if they, tank and they, don't win any games in the next few weeks, then yeah, he'll be available at the deadline at least. That said, he is also controllable for the next couple of years, which makes it a little harder for a team like the Pirates to want to let go. And historically speaking, they don't. David Bednar comes to mind. Brian Reynolds comes to mind. The Pirates, no matter if they're good or bad, really want to hold on to good players. And that could be the fate for Mitch Keller. So we'll see. But we'll have to go. We're going to go back to Kansas City real quick. Let's talk about Seth Lugo. Again, the Royals are 8 games back of the wild card. Seth Lugo is a free agent in 2028. He does have some controllable years, which would be up the Braves' alley. They like that kind of thing. The money, though, is interesting. He's making, across 2 years, $46 million, so $23 million on average. And he's got a club option for 2028, which is $20 to $21.5 million estimate. So I don't know if that'll happen. I think that's a little pricey for Seth Lugo personally, especially when you look at the other numbers on this list. That's just my take, though. Again, it would take some combination of the prospects we've been mentioning. I don't know exactly what it would take, but they want to decrease their spending and they want to, improve in prospects. Maybe they offset some of the cost, but I find it to be a little unlikely. But that takes us to number 10, and we're going to go to Arizona for this one. This is one I've brought up a few times over the years, and, it just has never happened for any team, and that is Zach Gallen. This would be a pure rental. Zach Gallen is a free agent at the end of this season. He is owed $22 million. The Braves would likely not be responsible for all of that. They are 6.5 out of their division. Much like a few of these teams, it is too early to tell whether or not they're going to be competitors in the playoffs, and if that's the case, they're going to want to keep these guys. But if they, don't play well over the next month or two, Zach Gallen could very well be available, at the trade deadline. We're going to have to see. I don't think he'll be an early trade. I think if you're looking for an early trade, which is what Alex Anthopoulos is looking for, I think Alex Anthopoulos is probably on the horn of San Francisco talking about Logan Webb and or Robbie Ray. That would be my guess. Anything can happen. Those are two pitchers that are available more than likely from the same team. I would prefer Logan Webb because he does have some more years of control and he is affordable. But it is going to take a bigger package. It's going to take a bigger trade package in the sense of more prospects, maybe even cash considerations. It's going to take something additional compared to Robbie Ray, in my opinion. Now, again, the Braves could decide, you know what, we're going to go all out and we're going to trade everybody we can, and we're going to get both Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, and all of a sudden, your rotation goes Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, Bryce Elder, Logan Webb, and Robbie Ray, Martin Perez sitting on the outside as depth, and Grant Holmes is in your pen. Maybe Martin Perez is too. But that's just the beginning of the trade deadline. There's far more to discuss. We don't have time in this video, but of course, the bullpen is a concern. We're going to talk about that in a future video. I believe there is a possibility that a position player could be traded. One that I think a lot of you guys would be a little surprised by, but I think you would actually enjoy the trade. So we're going to talk about that again in a future video. If you want to see those, do us a favor, like this one, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications so that you'll know when they come out and, of course, when everything else on this channel drops. With that out of the way, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time right here at On Deck.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.